I'm Holly, the food editor at Sous Chef, and I am delighted to welcome Anna Ansari to our kitchen, who is with us today with her debut cookbook, Silk Roads, and will be cooking a beautiful tofu dish.
Thank you so much for having me, Holly and Sous Chef. I am delighted to be here today to demo for you one of the recipes, one of 90 recipes from my debut cookbook, Silk Road. It's called Zuran Tofu, which means basically cumin tofu. It is my take on a dish that is sort of ubiquitous across Xinjiang, which is the northwestern province of China, and nowadays in sort of Uyghur restaurants in China proper and also outside of the country. It's an excellent, easy dish that you can make sort of any night of the week or, you know, for lunch. I mean, it's really fast, you'll see. We're gonna start, we just have a 225 gram block of extra firm tofu, but we're gonna chop up this tofu and we're just gonna marinate it for 20 minutes.
Your book is about the Silk Road. What's brought you to this culmination of recipes and your food stories?
So I'm an Iranian American. My father moved from Iran to the US in 1964. But we have potato flour right here. I'm gonna take about a tablespoon of that. So I grew up outside of Detroit. I spent a lot of time as well in China, where I first encountered Uyghur food, Uyghur cuisine, which, you know, in case people don't know, the Uyghurs are an ethnic minority from northwestern, now modern day China.
Yep.
In Xinjiang province. They're a Turkic minority, they're a Muslim minority, and they are sort of very intricately connected to the Turkic people across the Silk Roads and have been for centuries. And I went to China as a kid and basically like had Uyghur food for the first time. I had a noodle and sort of lamb dish that tasted so different from any Chinese food that I'd ever had, either in Michigan growing up or in China where I was living at the time. So it didn't taste like Chinese food to me, but it also it was very confusing because it also tasted so familiar. And it turns out I learned later on that it was because it was Uyghur food and because Uyghurs are a Turkic people and because they use a lot of cumin in their cooking,
right,
similar to what I grew up with eating as an Iranian American. And we have a lot of different spices in Iranian cuisine, but cumin is one of them.
Yeah.
And it just tasted so familiar.
And when we first spoke and we were sort of discussing what you might like to cook, cumin came up immediately.
Yes.
And you were saying anything to do with cumin, that'd be really fun. So yeah, it's really, really interesting to know that's what kind of threaded you back.
We're gonna add some ground cumin to our potato flour. You can use corn flour as well if you don't have potato flour. We're gonna put about a tablespoon of neutral oil.
Right.
You don't want an olive oil, you don't want like a sesame oil. So we have a sunflower oil here. You could just as easily use a plain old vegetable oil, a peanut oil, something that just doesn't give flavor. I mean, it looks like I'm gonna drink this Shaoxing wine, but this is Shaoxing wine. We're gonna put that in there. So we put, well, 3 little teaspoons as a tablespoon. We're also going to use a tablespoon of dark soy sauce, not light soy sauce.
Tell me the difference. Why would you choose dark or light?
I don't know what the difference is. I just know that dark is more concentrated in flavor.
Yeah.
And that's what we want here. Like, in it goes, and also in goes our tofu. So we just have chopped this tofu up into like lovely little rectangles. I suppose you could kind of do like little tofu fingers. You just want the plain old extra firm tofu.
Yeah.
And then you just want to get it coated.
And it's incredibly firm. I mean,
yes, I mean, like, it doesn't wiggle.
No, it's like it looks like cheese.
Yeah, it does look like cheese. It looks like a halloumi or a paneer. But yeah, you basically then just want to coat this up real nice.
Great.
And we leave it to marinate for about 20 minutes.
Then it's to the wok, isn't it?
Then it's to the wok. It is indeed to the wok. We are going to add some of our oil, like 200 mil. So we want the oil to get hot, but not smoking. All right, here we go. We're going in. Woo-hoo! Yeah, there we go.
Great.
But yeah, I would drain this tofu, but I don't want to turn my back to you guys. And we can just use tongs and take it out and get rid of most of that marinade. Woo! This is going to be good. Maybe we turn it down one. Yeah. It's happening.
It's really going.
Everything's happening.
Damn more.
You know, when I play with some of the Iranian dishes that I like eating and take some meat out, I tend to sub in beans.
Right. Yeah.
And for instance, there's this beautiful celery and herb stew in Iranian cooking that I no longer, I don't even remember what it tastes like with lamb or beef anymore because I always just use big white beans.
Lovely.
And it's so perfect.
Yeah.
But I don't think it would be good with tofu even. But no, not only my father, and I feel like he's you know, representative of an entire generation in that culture. He's like, tofu? What is this? What is this? We are going to turn these. You can see that you're getting it like kind of nice and brown and crispy.
Yes.
Even though it was browned from the marinade, the frying still imparts a little additional color and texture there. And we're going to take this out in a moment.
Yeah.
Because you just want it a couple minutes on each side because it will go back in with the rest of our sort of flavorings and some onions as well. Take out your tofu, drain it, put it on a paper towel lined plate. Especially with something like tofu that does soak up oil so easily. Similar with eggplant or aubergine, it really they're like sponges. So you don't want all of that oil back in your plate or in your arteries. All right, so we are going to basically set this aside for a minute and we're gonna drain all of this but a couple of tablespoons of oil.
Yes.
No, that's great. So we now have about 3 tablespoons of olive oil in here. We're gonna add our onion.
And so when it came to writing the book, how much additional research were you doing and how much of it just flew off the top of your head?
It took about 2 years to do the book proposal.
Right.
So I had a number of recipes already in there. I had an entire, basically what ends up being my introduction in Silk Roads was a standalone essay that was included in the book proposal. About a year, I would say, to do additional research. I mean, I've been going to China on and off since the late 1990s because my parents thought it would be a good idea to go to China because it was going to be an important country. We're going to add the tofu back in and then our dried chilies. Basically, you just want to get your onions like nice, a little bit brown. We can keep it on a little bit longer.
Smells good. There's nothing better, is there, than the smell of frying onions?
I know, there really isn't. Despite the fact that I'm from quite an international background, China was very, very different to any place I'd ever been. It was amazing. Yeah, I was fell in love basically, and decided to go back for a year. And I lived with a Chinese family for a year. I started studying Mandarin language there as well as Chinese history. I did a graduate degree in Chinese studies, East Asian studies. I lived and worked in China. And then I met a Scotsman and I moved to the UK. So I was like, oh, if I don't live in America, I'm definitely moving to Asia, right? Here we are. So we've added our tofu back in, and then we're gonna add some dried chilies, maybe 4 or 5, some little bird's eye chilies. And we are gonna put some ground Sichuan chili pepper in here. 1.5 teaspoons of that. We have cumin, we're adding ground cumin in here.
Ground cumin, ground Szechuan peppercorns.
And we're going to add some chili powder also. We don't want a ton, just a little bit. We're going to add some cumin seed as well, about 3 tablespoons. I love this.
Szechuan peppercorns, if people aren't familiar with them, have quite a distinct flavour, don't they?
Do.
It's different to the black peppercorns you might know.
I actually brought some from China. I wanted to talk to you guys about this.
Yeah.
So these are Sichuan peppercorns that I got in China last year. One is red. And one is green. And they are peppercorns, they're from little pepper bush, but they're not spicy. What they have is some sort of compound in them that kind of renders your tongue a little bit numb. And so they're used often in Sichuan cuisine in a sort of flavor combination that's known as ma la. Ma being numbing and la being hot and spicy, which you get from the chili pepper. And so the green ones are a little bit less fragrant than the pink ones. And are really good for fish dishes.
There's that sort of citric lemon, something really, really delicious. Whereas this has a slightly more sort of earthy something.
Oh, that's
amazing.
So good. I haven't had one of those in a while. This I got in China as well. We've ground our Sichuan peppercorns for this demo here. But in China, you can just go and buy just giant bags of pre-ground. Look at, this stuff looks like looks like cumin. But okay, we've got all this in here. Then we have a couple more things we have to add, and that is sugar, salt, and MSG. This is our salt, 3/4 teaspoon. So my host mother in Beijing in 1998 told me, anytime you add salt, you add MSG. Anytime you add MSG, you add salt. MSG is in here in a number of recipes in the book. For whatever reason, you are averse to using it, to each their own. There was one thing that I kept testing it, and something was just missing. And I added a little MSG, and I was like, that's what was missing. We're done, guys. We are gonna put this on a plate, and then we are going to just top it with some fresh coriander leaves, make your marinade in the morning, go off to work, come back and have this gorgeous tofu dish in the evening.
Yum.
Yeah, totally.
That just smells so good. Lunchtime for us. Lucky me, I get to eat this after the class.
I'm a big fan of stir-fried like lettuce.
Oh yes.
Yeah, I
Yum,
feel like
yum,
this
yum.
is the kind of dish that you would maybe want like a nice vegetable with it, but not something too sort of starchy and heavy. Like,
Yep.
There's a time and place for, broccoli. This is not it. But I feel like something nice and soft to go with like the crisp of the tofu.
Simple but delicious
simple, it's
and
so
so
good.
fragrant. Just absolutely gorgeous. Thanks so much, Anna. I have learned so much. I can't wait to dive in. What a pleasure. Thank you so much for cooking with us.
Thank you so much for having me. This has been so fun. And also it smells so good and I'm hungry. So thanks.
Let's eat.
Let's eat.